welcome back to In.Pencil. I wanted to hop on, the internet real quick and just sort of redo our old ranking of Eminem's albums. We did one some time ago, a year or 2 years ago, I forget. Anyway, my opinions on these albums have changed, and since the last version of this video we did, Eminem has released a new album, which everybody seems to be going crazy for. So, yeah, I thought it'd be a good time to pop on here and, redo my my tier list, as it were. Um, so, I'll just start from the oldest, from the first, Infinite. Everyone kind of poops all over this album, because it was pre Slim Shady days. It was very rough producing and recording quality, but I really enjoy this album. It's a very unique version of Eminem that I think we don't really hear a whole lot of this version of him later on into his like Slim Shady, mainstream days. But I think it's a good, good starter project for him. So yeah, just wanted to throw. Yeah, I think that's an A. So so after this album didn't really sell very well, he invented, famously invented the Slim Shady persona on the toilet, and so he released the Slim Shady EP, which has a lot of the like sort of tracks that would go on to become songs on the Slim Shady LP, but also had a few tracks that never really got redone or re-released in any form, like Low Down and Dirty and No One's Iller. Those songs never really got the publicity or attention that I think that they deserved, mostly because they weren't re-released on the Slim Shady LP. So for that fact alone, I think I want to give this probably an A as well, because yeah, a lot of I mean, again, for a starting position, it's a good place to start, and the idea, the invention of the Slim Shady persona, and everything that went into this EP. The D12 features on the EP are great. So yeah, we'll go ahead and put that in the A tier. Around the same time, he was forming D12, and they released the Underground EP, which just got a re-release on streaming services, and I think Eminem's only on like 3 or 4 songs, but I mean, like Infinite, the recording quality isn't top tier. The producing isn't top tier. D12 hadn't figured out who D12 was yet. They kind of had sort of a loose idea. Bugs was still around. If you're familiar with like the D12 lore, before they released Devil's Night and got signed to Shady Records, they had a member, Bugs, who was killed. So Bugs was still around for this, and yeah, but D12 has a lot better potential than this EP, and they came out with better projects. So I'm gonna put it right there in the C tier. Still pretty decent. It's one of those things that, like, once you listen to it once, you don't really go back to it a whole lot unless you're just feeling nostalgic for it, or if you're curious about what Eminem sounded like back in 1997, 8, 9 time frame. Anyway, so yeah, Eminem gets discovered by Dr. Dre off of the Slim Shady EP, and comes out with a Slim Shady LP, which is quite obvious. I think I did this in my last one. I didn't go back and look at my last tier list, or our last tier list, but I think we ranked Slim Shady LP as S tier. And if we didn't, then we were mistaken, because Slim Shady LP is an S tier album. The only song on that album that maybe a skip is Come On Everybody, but you just gotta be in the mood for that song. And My Fault is kind of one of the ones I gotta be in the mood for as well. But the rest of the album, aside from the skits, is 10 out of 10. So then, all right, Slim Shady LP comes out, and then what does he do? He comes out with the Marshall Mathers LP, which is also quite obviously an S tier album. Kind of the same thing with, Marshall Mathers LP. The only song on here that I would probably skip from time to time is maybe Drug Ballad. Amityville, I kind of gotta be in the mood for. Drug Ballad is kind of a skip. The track 13 songs, the Dina Ray songs on all these albums, including the Eminem Show, are probably my least favorite. And by least favorite, I'm saying still better than anything else that anyone else is doing at that point in time. But still, yeah, I would occasionally probably skip. Then again, Under the Influence does sometimes get a little bit annoying as well. But aside from that, everything else on this album is you put it on and you're not going to skip anything. Even the skits, like the flow of the skits, same with Slim Shady LP, the flow of the skits feed in so well with the rest of the album and complement everything. So the kicking of skits a little over the top, to be honest. But aside from that, so I'll hold off on the Eminem Show for a second, and I'll go over to. I'm trying to go in chronological order to the best of my memory because I'm doing this kind of all ad hoc. But D12 World came out, I believe, 2001. I'm sorry, I said D12 World. This is Devil's Night. Came out in 2001, and I think it is an A tier album. It had, Proof was still involved. Bugs had already passed, but Proof was still involved. And, Eminem was very centric on a lot of the songs. Like, this is a very Eminem heavy D12 album. D12 World does a better job of sort of letting the rest of the members, Swift, Kaniva, Con Artists, Proof, Bizarre, all kind of do their own thing on D12 World. But D12, Devil's Night, I believe Eminem is on every single song. But just the same way with Marshall Mathers and Slim Shady, it's a no skip album. I mean, really, unless you don't want to hear some really, really offensive lyrics, which tend to happen, especially on songs like Revelation, especially from like Bizarre. But I mean, you don't come to Eminem for clean lyrics and or D12. You don't come to them for clean lyrics and Christian message, as it were. So we'll move on to the Eminem Show. Eminem Show is also an S tier album, and I don't think this is, at this point, any of these things are a surprise. I'll be repeating myself if I said what I liked about all these albums the same as the other ones. I really like the what I would consider to be maturing on this album as well. It feels more poignant and more aware, I think, than the previous albums. But the song on this album, Superman, I'll give a pass to, but the song on this album that I really can't stand is Drips. Drips is completely unnecessary. Obi Trice, I mean, I've listened, I have Obi Trice's albums, like, Cheers, Second Rounds on Me, all those, I've enjoyed them for what they are, but the main reason I enjoy them is because of Eminem's contributions to those albums. 50 Cent did pretty well on Second Rounds on Me on his features as well, but on Drips, that song is just completely unnecessary. That's a skip. So, but aside from that, the rest of the album is gold. Okay, let's see. I'm trying to remember what happened next, because Encore and D12 World kind of came out at the same time. I'll just go ahead with D12 World. D12 World. Mm, like I said, I like the fact that a lot of the members were able to stand on their own on this album, and have their own songs. Like "Good Die Young" didn't feature Eminem. The "Just Like You" I think was a bizarre song, so I do appreciate that. I like the "Be Real" feature on American Psycho 2. Um, yeah, I really think this is a A tier album. It may even be S tier, to be honest. But I'm gonna leave it at A tier because I got some other albums I want to put in the S tier. Um, yeah. Then Encore. Everyone kind of. I don't really understand the criticism of Encore a whole lot because there are some songs on here that are ridiculous, like Puke, Rain Man. Um, what else? Ass Like That. There are some ridiculous songs on here, but I think intentionally so. Um, the the song on the Death of Slim Shady, uh, Brand New Dance, was supposed to be on Encore. Christopher Reeves themed. And there's a lot of Christopher Reeves stuff on here, which everyone seems to want to talk about now. But in all honesty, if you listen to Encore, it's not as prevalent as you're led to believe. The Christopher Reeves stuff. It's a little over the top. My First Single is a complete throwaway song. Spend Some Time is a good kind of, again with Obi Trice and Stack Quo, I could do without them. But Spend Some Time is still pretty good for what it is. So all in all, I think Encore is probably an A album. It's way underappreciated and underrated because you forget when you think about songs like My First Single, or Ass Like That, or Rain Man, or even Mosh. Mosh had its moment, but it wasn't, like, for me, it wasn't as good as some of the other stuff. Actually, I think I'm talking myself out of the A tier now, but I really enjoy the other stuff. Evil Deeds, Yellow Brick Road, the one like Toy Soldiers. Just Lose It wasn't the best single off of it. I'm trying to think what other songs are on this. Anyway, the whole album has a nice flow to it, and the songs that I could do without, like My First Single, they have their place. Crazy in Love, the one with the heart sample, could do without too. Okay, I'm talking myself out of it now. I'm moving it down to B tier. But all that to say, it's still kind of underrated. Like, it's way underappreciated. People put it down with like Relapse or with Revival. They say that Encore, Relapse, and Revival are Eminem's worst albums, and it's only partially true. Encore does have some high points, way more than people care to give her credit for. Okay, I've beat that dead horse. Now, what happened after that? I believe it was the Re-Up. The Re-Up was a compilation mixtape kind of thing that he did with all the other members of Shady Records. I'm going to put it in the C tier. There are some good, like, probably the first half of the album, I would say, I can listen to. And once it gets into like the Shake That remix and some of the other stuff that's on there with like Obi and Stack Quo and all that stuff, it's fine. But the stuff with Eminem and D12 towards the front of the album and 50 Cent is great. So yeah, I'm gonna put that in the C tier. What else do we have here? We have, what happened after the Re-Up? It was Relapse because of all the drug stuff and the rehab stuff, yada yada yada. Relapse, same as with Encore, an underappreciated album. I don't think it's as good as some people say that it is, and I don't think it's as bad as the other people say that it is. I think it's kind of in the middle. I think it's actually a B album. Um, the problem I have with Relapse is that when I think back on Relapse, I think of it thematically, and I can't single out a whole lot of songs individually that stand out to me because the whole album runs together with the accents and the beats and everything else. Like the whole album's produced by Dr. Dre, except for Beautiful. Beautiful is the one standout track aside from, 3 a.m. or whatever the other ones were. See, I don't even remember. Underground. I had a friend who really loved Underground, but yeah, Relapse is great. Um, it's a B album. It's not a D or an E or an F that people claim that it is. Refill was a step up from Relapse. They threw Forever on here, and I really just cannot stand Drake. If Forever wasn't on here, like literally just whenever you listen to Forever, I just skip all the way to the end because the only people on Forever that I value their work used to be Kanye West and Eminem. I never liked Lil Wayne. I never liked Drake. Now it's really just Eminem because Kanye West has kind of destroyed his own career and persona, and now puts out terrible music. And whenever you go back and look at Kanye's stuff in hindsight, I can't really listen to it anymore, to be honest. So Forever, whatever. The rest of the songs on here, what was on here? Careful What You Wish For was a bonus track that made it onto here. There was Music Box, which I really enjoyed. Yeah, I think every song on here, I enjoyed. And when I was younger, I would take this and throw it with, because this is like an EP basically. Like I know it's like a bonus version of the album, but really, if you isolate these songs, it's an EP. So I would take that and throw them with some of the songs that were unreleased, like The Apple or Duty, the one was about Proof that Obi Trice took and made the chorus for. I would kind of make that into a full mixtape album thing and listen to that on a burnt CD because that's how fucking old I am. But yeah, so Refill is an A for me. What was next? It was Recovery. So Refill is like an A minus. Recovery is an A tier album. I may even put it like almost S tier. Like the only thing that holds Recovery back for me is the Cinderella Man. I just absolutely can't stand. I feel like it's another version of Till I Collapse, but just a worse version of Till I Collapse. And then it kind of suffers from the same issues that Relapse did for me, wherein when I listen to a lot of the songs, in order, when I go back and think on them, some of them don't stand out to me as much as they do on like the other albums. So I would probably put Recovery there. It had Not Afraid and Love the Way You Lie. Really underrated tracks like Spacebound and So Bad. And Won't Back Down was like a good like Call of Duty type song or whatever, which I think they use it for like same with like Survival later on. They use those for like Call of Duty and stuff. But yeah, I would put Recovery in the A tier. So let's see, what else? Bad Meets Evil, I believe, came next. And I was happy. I was thrilled when Bad Meets Evil came out. Because this album, I say album, is more like an EP. With the bonus tracks, it technically constituted an album. I liked Bad Meets Evil from back in the day. I used to download from Napster, I would say, the old Bad Meets Evil songs, even the unreleased one, like the Renegade original version. A lot of people don't know that Renegade wasn't a Jay-Z song. And to get on that for a second, I really despise the fact that people always talk about how Eminem murdered Jay-Z on his own song, when Renegade isn't a Jay-Z song to begin with. Renegade is an Eminem song. Like, Eminem produced it. Eminem already had his lyrics written. He didn't change the lyrics from when it was a Bad Meets Evil song to when it was a Jay-Z song. Like, Eminem basically just gave Jay-Z the song, and Jay-Z replaced Royce's verses with Jay-Z's verses. So yes, Eminem's verses are technically better than Jay-Z's verses, but it's not like there was a competitive thing to it. Like, the verses were already done. So I don't understand why everybody like throws a fit about it, but whatever. I digress. There was other, there was Scary Movies and Nothing to Do, which came out as a maxi single, which I have on vinyl. So anyway, all that to say, when this album came out, I was happy, and it did not disappoint. The only song on here that I would say was disappointing to me was Take From Me, because it sounded like a whiny, like, I really don't like the whiny musicians who complain about people bootlegging their stuff and yada yada. You're millionaires, like, you're in some cases billionaires. Like, why are you whining about people pirating your music? Like, just be glad that people are fucking listening to your music. But that's what that song is about. Take From Me. So do without that. You should have taken that song off and threw on Echo, and it would have been a much better project. But Echo did make it on as a bonus track, or on the deluxe version. The other songs on here are great. Lighters, Fast Lane, Loud Noises. Yeah. So Bad Meets Evil. Where are we going? I can't remember. I think Marshall Mathers LP came before Shady 15, but I may be wrong about that. My mind isn't thinking chronologically for that time frame. But we'll go ahead and do Marshall Mathers LP. Not as good as the original. Kind of suffers from the same problem as Recovery, where, now I'm thinking about it, maybe not. There are some songs on here I really don't like Asshole. Asshole I do not like. Don't take that out of context and clip the audio from it or anything, but I don't like Assholes to begin with. But thematically, it opens and closes just masterfully. The bonus tracks on the deluxe version are phenomenal. The Don't Front with Buckshot, the Call of Duty bonus track that made it onto the deluxe version that came out last year or 2 years ago, phenomenal. Every other song on here is outstanding. Asshole's not as great, so I would probably put this in an A+ section over here. Yeah, well, Berserk, I do appreciate the Beastie Boys reference and throwback and everything else with Berserk. It's not as, and Rap God, dear God, is so overplayed. I'm so tired of hearing Rap God. It is great. It is 6 minutes. It is amazing technical display of skill, and the lyrics are a little corny, like an Eminem, Eminem song is from time to time. But I'm so sick of hearing Rap God, and The Monster was played so much, but for good reason. Those are they're good songs, but I'm so tired of hearing Rap God. All right. It is impressive that he can still do it now at 52. It is impressive he can still do that live. Although, yeah, anyway. But, the deep cuts on here are really where it's at, Evil Twin, that kind of stuff. So, all right, we are going to go over to Shady 15. All right, so Shady 15, a lot like the re-up over here, was a compilation that was put out. This time it was for the 15th anniversary of Shady Records, so it had, D12, Yellow Wolf, Slaughterhouse, whoever else was on Shady Records at the time. I think that was actually it. It was just different variations of that throughout the main disc. And then there was a bonus disc with hits from Shady Records. which had like 50 Cent and stuff on it. By the time this was released, 50 Cent was already off Shady, so 50 Cent wasn't like on the main disc or whatever. The Eminem songs on here, I loved all of them except for Guts Over Fear, because that one is so grueling to get through. But the rest are good. The Slaughterhouse songs are phenomenal. The one was produced by DJ Premier. I can't remember what, I'm drawing a blank on what it was called, but it's phenomenal. The Psychopath Killer, great. Love Yellow Wolf on here. Down is amazing. D12 song on here, Bane, is awesome. Detroit versus Everybody is phenomenal. Trick Trick is a little annoying. Dej Loaf is not as bearable as I would like to listen to, but I can make it through the song. Same with Danny Brown. I don't care for either of those two artists, but on Detroit versus Everybody, it's okay. Trick Trick's yelling and sort of abrasive voice is a bit grueling, but so yeah, I think this project is probably, I think I'll give it like an A minus, because I wish it were more. Like, I wish they had done more with this. They did have the Lose Yourself original version on this, but yeah, I think it's about the highest I can go with that. Then there was Revival. Everyone loves Revival. Unlike Encore, the hate that Revival gets is mostly deserved. God, when I go back and listen to Revival, I don't even know how I can make it through the entire album. Like, in every aspect of the album is painful to listen to. Like, Bad Husband is atrocious. The Cranberries song they have on here is bad. The Slim Shady, like the 3 a.m. relapse type song they have on here is terrible. The only saving grace for Revival are the last two songs, Arose and Castle. Those are the only two saving graces on this thing. Walk on Water is fine. And then the Chloroseptic remix, the original Chloroseptic is just unbearable. But the Chloroseptic remix that came out after Revival was out was phenomenal, aside from 2 Chainz, because he's another one of those artists that I don't really tolerate that well. But yeah, this album just is not good. So there we go. I would put it F, but I didn't actually make an F tier for this thing. I'm using the same template as I always use. So anyway, but then he came out with Encore, the opening tracks, yada yada. The D12 song, Stepping Stone, the one about D12 being over. Then the last 2 songs with Jesse Reyes. There's Nice Guy and there's Good Guy. One of them, they're interchangeable to me. I forget. One of them I really like, and the other one I can't stand. And if you know these songs, you probably know which one I'm referring to. Venom is unbearable to listen to. At least the hook. The verses are fine, but the hook is unbearable. I would put Venom, Guts Over Fear, and the phenomenal song from the Southpaw soundtrack. I would put all those in the same category of like Rocky movie style songs that I really don't need to hear. Let's see, and then there was Music to Be Murdered By. That just goes straight in the B column, because there are some saving songs on here. There's the songs he did, I Will, Ya Ya with like Busta Rhymes and Q-Tip and whoever else was on there. Darkness is great. Darkness blew my mind whenever it first came out. Godzilla, I guess. But yeah, the other songs on here, like the one with I'm getting it mixed up with the B-side album, but the one with Ed Sheeran, I didn't really enjoy. Overall, just looking back on this album, I don't really enjoy it as much as some of the others. Side B is basically the same, as far as how I feel about it. The Nat song, just didn't age very well because, you know, it was a COVID song. None of the COVID stuff aged very well. Yeah, I think that's about it for that. And then we got the new one, the Slim Shady, Death of Slim Shady over here. There's a lot to love about this album. It is very nostalgic. It does pull at your heartstrings a little bit, like, because it takes you right back to this Slim Shady, to this era, to these days. In some ways, you know, the brand new dance song, Head Honcho, is unbearable. Easy Mill, I don't know where Eminem is getting these people, like Easy Mill, Cassius, Bobby Creekwater, Stat Quo, Obi Trice. I don't know where the hell he's getting these people, but he keeps signing these people that just have no business being signed to Shady Records. Even D12 has issues, like as far as like the quality of rappers that they are. Not Swifty McVeigh, and not Connor's, not Kaniva, but Bizarre has issues. Proof was fine, but Easy Mill, I've no why is he here? Bad One is annoying. The Jelly Roll song is also annoying. And the album really kind of ends after Guilty Conscience 2, to be honest. When people say that if you listen to it backwards, it has a different meaning to it, I don't really catch that or vibe with that. I just feel like it's a good listen from front to back until you get to Guilty Conscience 2, and then it kind of falls off. The Baby Tron and Big Sean song is like decent. It's like a good, I guess, sort of like trap single, more or less. But aside from that, thematically, it doesn't really fit with the album. Temporary, the Skylar Grey song. God, that's an emotional song, but it's one that I can only sit through once. You know, every once in a while. There's no replayability there. If I were to listen to track 1 to Guilty Conscience 2, I'm good. The whole album is great. So because of that, because the back half of the album detracts from the remaining project, along with Brand New Dance, that also is a detractor. I'm only going to put it at an A tier. Yeah, that's a little bit different, I think, than what we originally came up with on our first video, or our first attempt at this. But I think that's how I'm feeling right now with the Eminem tier list. I'm going to go ahead and just sort of sort these a little bit more, just so have a little more concrete rankings over here for some of these. People are going to say me putting Marshall Mathers LP on the same level as first Marshall Mathers LP, maybe a little much. Same with Bad Meets Evil. But I think for all the pros and cons, I think I enjoy them equally, more or less. Yeah. So that's my Eminem tier list. Let me know what you think in the comments.